Welcome to Sanathan. Okay, get ready, because today we're exploring something honestly truly transformative. We're looking at how to take Friday, which, let's face it, is often just the exhausted, completely depleted end of a stressful work week, and literally turn it into a profound space of emotional harmony and peace, all through the Friday Lakshmi Pooja. I mean, think about your own life for a second here. How do you shed the week's stress? By the time Friday evening rolls around, your mind is probably racing, right? You're dealing with financial thoughts, emotional fatigue, and, all those unfinished conversations that have been building up since Monday. You desperately need a way to just decompress and shift your energy. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the Friday transition. Second, the Venus connection. 3, preparing your sacred space. 4, a step-by-step puja guide. And finally, the true meaning of prosperity. I promise this practice is incredibly easy to follow. Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the Friday transition. Now, you might be wondering why Friday is so special. Well, there's a really stark contrast between two very different states of mind here. The demanding work week, it's chaotic. It drains your energy with just endless responsibilities and heavy thoughts. But the Friday evening, it can and absolutely should be this space of calmness, reassurance, gratitude, and harmony. And this emotional shift isn't just an accident. By performing a Friday Lakshmi Pooja, you're consciously inviting this peaceful energy to come in and push out all the week's chaos. That brings us to Section 2, the Venus connection. This actually makes perfect logical sense when you look at Vedic astrology. Every weekday is associated with a planetary influence, and Friday? Well, Friday belongs to Venus, or Shukra Graha. Venus governs emotional balance, supportive relationships, luxury, and beauty. And if you think about it, these qualities perfectly mirror Goddess Lakshmi's divine energy of prosperity, abundance, and grace. It's a perfect match. So performing this worship on a Friday aligns you absolutely perfectly with this incredibly potent, astrologically supportive energy. Section 3, preparing your sacred space. So the crucial point is that the physical setup is the vital first step in your bridge to the weekend. Because, you see, the practice starts before you even sit down to pray. Cleaning the physical home, sweeping the entrance, organizing the kitchen, tidying the prayer area is directly tied to clearing your mind. In Hindu traditions, cleanliness is strongly associated with Lakshmi consciousness. So that physical chore of cleaning, it's actually not just about dusting. It's this symbolic, super powerful removal of your mental clutter. You're basically demonstrating discipline and a true readiness to welcome in that positive energy. And alongside that physical cleaning, there's an internal preparation through Friday fasting, which is known as Shukravar Vrat. This basically involves a lighter diet, consuming only fruits, milk, or vegetarian food, and strictly avoiding any intoxicants. But the real key here is maintaining your mental focus on your spiritual goals. This kind of dietary and mental discipline really purifies the body and creates a highly receptive, beautiful space for divine blessings to enter your life. Moving on to Section 4, Step-by-Step Puja Guide. Now we're going to break down the practical, core mechanics of the actual Friday evening ritual. This timeline walks you sequentially through the evening prayer, keeping it grounded in incredibly accessible, natural elements. First, you start by praying to Lord Ganesha, the remover of obstacles. Then you gently place a Lakshmi idol or a picture on a clean cloth. Step 3 is lighting a gidiya, which is followed by offering beautiful items like white sweets or a lotus. Next, you chant mantras, something like the ancient Sri Sukta hymn, to really center your mind. And finally, you conclude with arti, which is the ceremonial waving of light and a prayer of deep gratitude. It's just a wonderfully simple, calming flow. But there's a much deeper meaning behind these steps. Take the ghee diya, for example, and this brilliantly illustrates our point. Lighting this diya isn't just about illuminating a room with a physical flame. No, it's a symbolic representation of awareness and spiritual clarity. When you strike that match and light that flame, you are actively participating in the removal of all that emotional heaviness you carried from the work week. The offerings hold profound symbolism, too, like the lotus flower. It's considered highly auspicious for Goddess Lakshmi. Why? Well, because it symbolizes purity and spiritual growth that actually thrives despite surrounding difficulties. Basically, it's just like you pushing through a tough week. And offering white sweets like kheer connects right back to that Venus energy we talked about earlier, inviting softness, peace, and real emotional nourishment into your space. Let's move to and see how this builds into our final section, Section 5, true meaning of prosperity.
Because, the ritual doesn't just magically end when you blow out the incense. It actively shapes your actions. This translates directly into everyday Friday behavioral practices. Things like speaking calmly and respectfully, avoiding unnecessary arguments, resisting that urge for impulsive spending, donating to those in need, and focusing purely on gratitude. These aren't just arbitrary rules. They're practical, real-world behavioral changes that quietly and powerfully reflect the disciplined, balanced energy of Lakshmi consciousness that you've just cultivated.
Which leads us to this emotional crescendo, and quite honestly, a profound quote from our source material. Prosperity grows best where peace, respect, and gratitude already exist. This completely redefines how we should view wealth, doesn't it? True abundance is far, far broader than just financial wealth or, money in a bank account. It's household harmony, it's supportive relationships, it's mental stability. That is the real prosperity Goddess Lakshmi brings. So, as you head into this weekend, how will you cultivate your own harmony? Will you take just a few moments to clear your physical and mental space, maybe light a diya, and consciously let go of the week's heavy burdens? To learn more about this incredible, transformative practice, definitely visit https://sanathin.app/puja. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and here's to a peaceful, truly prosperous weekend.
Get ancient wisdom and infinite guidance, anywhere, anytime. Visit sanathan.app today. Start your spiritual journey now.